Hello everybody, it's Lynne Marshall here. I'm a dog trainer and behaviourist, and I'm going to be talking to you today about how you can help your dog through the firework season, because of course it's no longer just one night as it was when I was young. It stretches on for weeks, and if I don't know how you're finding it, but for the last 3 nights we've had people in our village, which is relatively small, letting off fireworks really at all times of the evening, and it's getting really impossible to judge when it's going to happen. And of course 45% of our dogs suffer with some form of firework anxiety, even going up to the extreme firework phobia, which is pretty awful to see. If you've got a dog with firework phobia, you're going to know what I'm talking about. So a little bit about me to start with, just so that you know who I am and what I do. My company is called Love Your Dog Training, and I work with family dogs with training and behavioural issues. I either do that face-to-face or I do Zoom appointments as well. But I specialise, I've worked for years with dogs with firework anxieties, because it really breaks my heart to see dogs struggling as they do. I have written articles for Crufts magazine. I've been on live TV talking about my work. I've had press coverage worldwide. I've even been in the New York Times. And I speak fairly regularly on BBC Radio talking about my work with dogs and the most common issues that I help people with. So the good news today is that every dog can be helped that suffers with firework phobia. Whether your dog has extreme phobia or very mild phobia, every single dog, in my experience, can be helped. What we're going to talk about today, I'm going to talk to you about what firework phobia is, how it's caused, because it's important to understand what your dog is going through and why, what the signs are, how you can spot it, and also some short-term solutions, because obviously the firework season is upon us. If you're like me, as I've said, you're already experiencing fireworks happening every evening. My dog fortunately doesn't suffer with it, but I know lots of dogs that do. We're also going to talk about long-term solutions, because it is possible for your dog, no matter how extreme their phobia is, to reduce or remove the fear that they currently suffer with. I've written a program to help you with that. You can find it on my shop page on my website, which is www.loveyourdog.org.uk. We're also going to talk about things that you can buy or make to help your dog now. We're also going to talk about when it's right to speak to your vet and why, and what the vet can do to help you. And a little bit, if we've got time, about what to do if you've got a dog that's never experienced fireworks before. So let's kick off. Firework phobia. What is it? Basically, a phobia is when a dog has an extreme reaction to something that's happening, an outside trigger. How is it caused? Most likely, very early on, or at any time of your dog's life, they heard the noise of a firework and it spooked them. Dogs associate things in their brain. So hearing a loud noise outside or inside, the dog would have associated that sound with the fear response that they had at the time. And that then gets stored into your dog's long-term memory. So next time they hear that same noise, the brain automatically goes to what that fear response was, and lo and behold, the dog goes into stress. The more fireworks, the more sound that's happened, the more your dog is likely to respond negatively to fireworks. And then sadly, the noise can generalize. So it's not just fireworks that your dog is responding to. It could be a bus going by that pops off its exhaust, and you see your dog going into that same fear response. They might start shaking or trembling. So any noise, even a pot dropping in the kitchen on the floor, can trigger that same fear response. But as I say, it is possible to reduce that response, that fear response, and even remove it entirely. And I've worked with lots of dogs and seen this happen lots of times. So what signs are you looking out for? Your dog will have anxiety either very mildly, or it can go right up to extreme anxiety. And you're going to start to see your dog shaking. They might drool, they might pant a lot, they might try and hide, they might be sick, or they might toilet inside. Some dogs have even been known to jump through glass windows in their absolute fear and their desperation to escape from what they see as a dangerous situation. So what's happening is your dog's body is filling with adrenaline and they're just not coping, and this is the response that you're going to see. So there are lots of short-term solutions, things that you can try. And because we're in the middle of the firework season already, you're looking to help your dog get through the situation at the moment. To help your dog long term, so if you're one of these people that has dogs with what I would call a phobia, i.e. an extreme reaction to the sound of fireworks, then you're going to need to work on a long-term program of what we call desensitization, which basically means removing the fear or reducing the fear that your dog is suffering at the moment. And that generally takes about 4 weeks to do. So what you're looking at is a plan to get you through so that at New Year's Eve your dog is no longer frightened of fireworks. Okay, so short-term solutions. What can we do now? The first thing that I would recommend is that you make a doggy den, somewhere safe that your dog can escape to if they want to. So what I suggest is you think about where your dog, which room your dog feels safe in. It could be the lounge, it could be the bedroom, wherever it is, wherever they go and hide normally, that's where your dog feels safe. So that's where you want to create your doggy den. So you want to get some very heavy fabric. It could be towels, it could be blankets, because what you're going to try and do is to mask the sound of the fireworks, because dogs are responding to 3 things. Number 1, the sound. And just to talk to you about the sound, dogs can hear sound 4 times further away than we can. So if we can hear something 20 foot away, your dog can hear it at 80 foot. So this is why dogs will often respond sooner to the sound of thunder or the sound of fireworks than we do, because their hearing is actually more powerful than ours. They can also hear sound at a much higher frequency. So things that we can't hear, so if it's like a whistle or a whoosh of a firework, they can hear it at a higher frequency than we can, which is also why they tend to have a stronger response than us. Also, in terms of sound, your dog can't pinpoint where the noise is coming from. It's all around. So they become more scared because they don't understand what's happening and they can't actually pinpoint it. So basically, they're not feeling safe. So the first thing that we have to do in a short-term situation is try to muffle the sound as much as we can. So by creating a doggy den, you're giving your dog somewhere to escape to where the noise is reduced and they feel safe. Dogs feel safest in a small area where they can almost huddle up. And that's why sometimes you'll find dogs will try and cuddle up to you and hide under your arm because they're feeling safe and comforted there. So set your doggy den up as soon as possible. Feed your dog in there for the next couple of days or the next week. Put your dog's favourite toys in there. Chew toys are ideal. Chew toys, when a dog chews, it actually releases serotonin in the brain. And serotonin, as we know, is the happy hormone. So it actually makes a dog feel better if they chew. So if you've got some chew toys or you want to buy a couple of chew toys, get your dog used to using them, chewing on them, and put those in your doggy den so your dog has somewhere nice and safe to retreat to. The next thing that you want to think about is something like a thunder shirt. You might be able to see this on the screen now. Now, as you can see, it's something that wraps around your dog's body. It's almost as you would swaddle a baby. So what you're basically doing is putting something on your dog to swaddle them and keep them feeling nice and comforted and tight. So you can buy a Thunder shirt. If you're able to go to Pets at Home, they do sell them, or you can get one online. Now they are quite expensive. There are cheaper options which you can look at, or failing that, you can get an old t-shirt and just make sure it fits your dog nice and tightly, because the idea is to swaddle them to make them feel safe. Make sure it's not too tight, obviously, but anything that's going to comfort your dog like that is worth trying. The next thing, you can buy sprays. Things like Pet Remedy is a good one. There's a lady called Caroline Graham, who is an applied zoopharmacologist, and what that basically means is that she specialises in essential oils and herbs to help dogs, and she actually sells a calming mist which is specifically designed for noise anxieties. So again, you might not be able to get that in time, but it is certainly worthwhile having a look on her website for the calming mist for dogs with noise phobia and anxiety. And all you do with any of these sprays is just simply spray it around the room, let it fall so that your dog can inhale it. That can help. You can also get supplements. There's one called NutriCalm, which might be worth looking at. Basically with dogs, there's not one fail-safe thing that's going to help, because every dog is different. Your dog is different. And what you have to do in the short term is to just try different things and find what works for your dog. And again, it does depend on the level of anxiety that your dog is struggling with. People have asked me about, do plugins work? It's one of the questions. Personally, I haven't found that they do, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, if it helps, have it. You know, it's not going to harm your dog. It's a natural product. And what Adaptil is, the smell, it's actually a chemical smell, but it's mimicking the hormones and pheromones that are nursing, when a mother is nursing her puppies, she's giving out to calm her puppies down. But you should really plug it in about 2 to 3 weeks before the fireworks start. So again, it might be something that you can buy, you can try, see if it works for your dogs. Certainly have it ready for New Year's, which is when obviously we're going to get the next lot of fireworks coming out. You can also look at CBD hemp oil. This again, there's a lot of research being done at the moment. It can and has been shown to help dogs with anxiety, but I would just say that just be a little bit careful. If your dog's on any medication, make sure that you check this out with your vet first of all. Make sure that you do buy a product that is designed for dogs. There is no regulation over this at the moment, so again, you want to make sure that you're getting a good quality product. One of the best things, this is a top tip from me, one of the best things that you can get for your dog is a fan. Buy one, borrow one. If you've got one already, that's great. Switch it on, because what a fan does, it creates white noise, and that helps to mask the noise of the fireworks outside. It's great. That's definitely worth getting and popping that on. I'm going to talk to you about your plan for the day anyway, but you get your fan sorted, get that switched on. That's going to help to mask the noise of the fireworks. Remember, we're talking about masking the noise, we're talking about the flashes and the sight, and we're also talking about the smell of fireworks. Those are the 3 things that we need to help our dogs with, and I'm going to talk about the other 2 shortly. So when to talk to your vet. If your dog is not coping and is extremely anxious, please do talk to your vet. The vet has a number of prescription products that they can talk to you about that might well help your dog through. Because at the moment, what you need to do is to do whatever it takes to get your dog through this fireworks season. As I say, the long-term solution is there, which is going to remove and reduce the fear that your dog is feeling. But at the moment, with the amount of time we've got, you just want to help your dog get through. So they can recommend diazepams, which is just going to very gently sedate your dog just to help them cope, really, which is all you want, because there's nothing worse than seeing a dog in a high state of distress, is there? It's heartbreaking. So your plan for the day. This is what I always recommend. Take your dog out early, get them out for a good long run, wear out the physical energy. Feed them normal breakfast. Round about 4 o'clock, you want to close your curtains as soon as it starts getting dark, because we just don't know when fireworks are going to start. And this year, because all of the fireworks, the public events are cancelled, I think we're going to see a lot more people letting off fireworks in back gardens. So you want to be prepared. Close all the curtains early, because that way we can stop your dog seeing the flashes of light, which a dog doesn't understand at the end of the day, and it can be very, very frightening. Round about 4:30ish, you want to feed your dog a meal. Along with its normal food, I suggest that you add in some high carbohydrates, because carbohydrates make us feel sleepy, don't they? So add something in like sweet potato. That is going to, again, help your dog to feel more relaxed, more sleepy, because at the end of the day, the more sleepy you can make your dog feel, the less they're going to react to fireworks. So that's a good tip. Then you want to make sure you've got your doggy den ready, put your thunder shirt on your dog, spray your pet remedy, and the next thing you want to do is to play brain games with your dog for as long as you can keep your dog interested. So that's things like sit, down, stay, little tricks, hide and seek, anything where your dog has to use their brain and you can engage with them just to keep the brain busy. That actually also helps to tire your dog out. So another good tip. Turn the TV on as well as your fan if you need to, or the radio, because what you're trying to do, remember, is to mask the noise outside. Just to interrupt that slightly, because I want to talk to you about scent. Fireworks have basically 2 sets of chemicals, black powder and flash powder. So in every firework, you do have these same chemicals. So to get your dog used to the smell, I mean, last night I went outside with my dog for a last toilet at 10 o'clock, and the air was acrid with fireworks smoke. And again, this is very unusual for a dog. Combine it with everything else, it's something extra that they're having to worry about. So if you can, get a spent firework that's safe. Let your dog smell it, because the dog then is going to see that the smell itself, there's nothing to fear. Pair it with some treats. So what you're basically doing is you're removing the fear of the smell, you're masking, you're closing your curtains so that they can't see the flash, and you're also going to mask the sound as much as possible. So these 3 things are the 3 things that your dog is most likely to react to. Going back to your plan. Sorry, I got a little bit interrupted there. I get very excited about this. So going back to your plan, toilet your dog as early as possible and make sure that you keep them on the lead if they're in the garden. More dogs run away because you take them out, you think everything's fine, suddenly a firework goes off and your dog bolts. More dogs run away on fireworks night than any other time. And when a dog is frightened, it can get through the smallest of gaps and they just bolt. Also, just in case, make sure that your dog is microchipped. So if it does get lost, obviously you're going to have a good chance of getting it back. Bring your dog back inside. TV, fan, as much noise as possible. The most important thing, though, is how you're feeling. Dogs respond to how we're feeling. That's a fact. If you are anxious, your dog is going to mirror that and they're going to be anxious. Dogs don't understand that we're anticipating them becoming frightened and worried. All they see is the boss, mum, dad, becoming anxious. If we're anxious, they're going to think there's something to worry about. And I know this is so hard if you've got a dog that's panicking and feeling traumatized. But if you go into anxiety, it's going to make your dog worse. When you hear the first firework go off, the best thing to do is to name it and say something like, "Oh, that's a firework." If you can give a treat to your dog, if your dog is still able to accept food at that point, give your dog a little treat. Because what you're starting to do is pairing the sound of the firework with something good happening. So as soon as you hear that noise, "Oh, it's a firework," in a happy, jolly voice, give your dog a treat. If they won't take the treat, that's okay. At least your reaction is, that's nothing to be bothered about. It's not going to help those dogs with an extreme phobia. That needs a proper program to work with. But for a dog that has mild anxiety, or a dog particularly that's never heard fireworks before, that is going to help enormously, because it's going to prevent your dog becoming frightened of fireworks in the first instance. I hope that makes sense. So that really is for first-time puppies. So I've had lots of questions from you. One of them actually was from Vicky, and she said that what she does with her dog Gus is to plug his ears with cotton wool. What she's basically doing is helping him not to hear, to mask the sound of fireworks. Yes, you can do that. Just make sure it doesn't get stuck down in the ears. There also are, they're called, what are they called? They're called mutt muffs, where you can get ear muffs which actually, again, cancel out the sound of the fireworks. So there's a product called Mutt Muffs, and there's one called Pet Paws Aviation. They both do the same job. Or indeed, you could probably make something yourself by getting a headband and putting some fabric underneath it, just to help mask the sound of fireworks. You would have to get your dog used to that before fireworks night, because you don't want to pop something on your dog's ears that's going to make them even more frantic. So again, try to plan in advance, get your dog used to using that. That was a great question, Vicky, thank you. Christine swaddles her dog, and I've mentioned that, a thunder shirt, or get a t-shirt and wrap it tightly around your dog. Swaddling is great. Pauline with Tilly, her dog gets very distressed and won't go outside to toilet. If your dog won't go outside, you don't want to take them out when there's any risk of hearing fireworks, even if it's a dog that's not heard fireworks before. You don't want to introduce your dog that way. If you have a puppy or a dog that's never been exposed to fireworks before, you can download Sounds Scary from the Dog's Trust. It's a free download, and you can play that very, very quietly at first to get your new puppy or your dog used to the sound of fireworks. So, yeah, thank you, Pauline. That was a great question. Marion says that fireworks should be banned, and there's a lot of people that feel that way. I certainly think, personally, perhaps I shouldn't say this, but personally I wish that they wouldn't allow people to buy them and let them off in back gardens and things. I would much rather that they were kept to planned events. There has been a number of questions in Parliament, but unfortunately we're still not there yet. Mary mentions about Quincy. She's had some tablets from the vet, but she doesn't like to give them all the time because she doesn't feel it's fair to Quincy. I totally understand that, and what I would say is you need to be thinking about the long-term solution, desensitizing Quincy, so by New Year's Eve Quincy isn't going to be worried anymore. And again, I would just recommend you take a look at my Firework Phobia program on my website, which takes you through that and will remove and substantially reduce fear from phobic dogs. Jan mentions that her dog hears fireworks before we do, and it lasts an hour onwards. Jan, what I would say to you is potentially talk to your vet if it is lasting for so long afterwards. This is something that you might want to talk to your vet about. So I think that's it from today. I do hope that you've enjoyed listening to what I have to say about dogs and fireworks. I know how distressing it is. It's really, really sad. But as I've said, there are things that you can do that are going to make all the difference. Any questions at all, please feel free to message me. I'm here to help. If there's anything else that you want to know about dogs, again, just drop me a line and I will do what I can to help you. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you to the RBS for inviting me on today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I really do hope that Fireworks Night season this year goes well for you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.